Want to speak real Spanish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SpanishPod101.com.
Hola, soy Brenda Romagnelo, tu profesora de español. Hello and welcome to your Spanish class. Today we are going to learn how to pronounce the vowels in Spanish. Yes, today is going to be all about sounding like a Spanish speaker and speaking perfectly or pronouncing the vowels in Spanish perfectly. This class is for beginners. This is especially for those who are starting to learn the language and who want to improve their pronunciation to sound more natural when they speak to Spanish speakers. Yes, and so today I'm going to share with you how to pronounce a few things, how we say the vowels, how we pronounce them in Spanish, and then we'll have a look at some examples and we'll practice some pronunciation with certain Spanish words. First of all, I want to mention that, of course, there are 5 vowels like any other language, yes. Well, maybe some other languages, I'm not sure. But there are 5 vowels in Spanish. 5 vowels in Spanish, vowels. So we have A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so I know in English we also have the same 5 vowels. But incredibly speaking, from a pronunciation point of view or perspective, did you know there are 13 different ways to pronounce the exact same 5 vowels that we have in Spanish in English? And that is why I believe Spanish speakers like myself, we carry, yes, we bring the Spanish vowels when we speak English, and that's why we sound Spanish when we speak English, yes? The idea is not to entirely remove your native language accent, because that's practically impossible, especially if you're learning a language after you become 18, because the muscles in your throat and in your mouth, they become stiff, yes, after this age, and therefore it is more difficult to perfectly or to sound like a native speaker. But I do believe that trying to imitate Spanish speakers, native speakers, as closely as possible, if we try to practice and pronounce and understand how pronunciation in Spanish works, it will help you to speak with more clarity, and therefore when you speak to Spanish native speakers, not only that you will be able to get them to understand what you are saying better, but also they will understand you better when you talk. So it helps everyone to have a bit of a better pronunciation. And I think especially if you are starting, to concentrate on how you pronounce or how we pronounce words in Spanish will set you up in a great journey into your Spanish learning trip or adventure, because of that specific reason. If you don't really study pronunciation early on in your studies, then it will be hard to try to unlearn certain things that maybe you are carrying from your mother tongue and then having to relearn things. So it's better to always start with the right foot forward. Okay, so I was saying that there are 13 different ways to pronounce the 5 vowels in English, for example, and I wonder if there are even more in other languages. But in Spanish, there's only 5 vowels, 5 sounds, which is great, right? That's the great news. So, and I think that is also partially the problem, yes, when sometimes English speakers, for example, when they speak Spanish, they tend to bring those 13 different sounds that they are used to and read Spanish words and changing the vowel sound depending on what follows, what's before, what sort of consonants there are in between, and therefore they sound very robotic, or they sound very English when they speak Spanish. So in order to avoid all this and to try to sound as natural as possible, today we're gonna have a look at these 5 sounds with some examples. The first, vocal, yes, las vocales is the vowels in Spanish, and the first vowel that we're going to talk about is A. ¿Puedes repetir? Can you repeat? A. 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 Okay, so A always sounds the same in Spanish. It doesn't matter if you put it at the beginning of the word, if this vowel is in the middle of a word or at the end, it will always sound the same, A. It doesn't matter if there is a U following it. So if you say au, yes, you're gonna have to say au, okay, instead of or o. The different ways that we say it in English, in Spanish, it doesn't matter where it's placed in a word, it will always sound like ah. And it's very round, it's big, there's a lot of air going through this vowel, ah, yes? So, if you want to sound more Spanish or more like a native speaker, I recommend that you always pronounce a as a. Por ejemplo, repite después de mí. Amor, amor, amar, amar. Okay, love or to love, yes. I'm so romantic with this example, but I want to use a word that has two A's so that you can see it there. Amar, amar. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one is e. Repite, e. E. Por ejemplo, elefante, elefante. This e, be careful sometimes if you see it written in a word, you might be very likely and tempted, especially if your mother tongue is English, to try to say as e, right? Because sometimes that's how we say it in English, but it's not, right? In Spanish, it will always be e, as in pet. Think of the word pet, that e, that's the exact pronunciation that we need for this specific vocal, vowel. E, e. And pay attention that when we were saying elefante, this word sounded the same at the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. Elefante. The next one, la próxima, y. 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 Por ejemplo, vivir. Vivir. To live. Vivir. Okay, so as you can see here, this E sound is very similar to, for example, when you say knee. Yes, like as in knee, rodilla. So that's pretty much the E. The sound is E. And also be careful, yes, it will never be I in Spanish. We'll never say E as I, okay? E, doesn't matter where or what follows, what other vowels we have around it, it will always be E. The next one is O. 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 ¿Puedes repetir? O. O. Ok. Por ejemplo, vamos a ver un ejemplo. Sol. Sun. Sol. Sol. Okay, so that's the sun, sol. And as you can see, this one is very round, similar to A, and we have that O sound going. O. O. Yes, another one, for example, oso. 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 So be careful if you are an English speaker to maybe avoid trying to take it into a U at the end. Yes, so it's not O, O, it's O. Always O. So cut it short there in the middle. After you start, stop there. Yeah, sol. So it's not soul or also, especially if the last word, the last vowel is in a word is O. We tend to go O, no, in English. Don't do that in Espanol. Oso instead of oso. Oso. Yeah, no. Oso. And the last one is U. U. Think about when you make a mistake and you go ooh, ooh. Or if you want to think of a word in English, maybe is the U that we say in book. Ooh. Is that ooh, short ooh. It never sounds like you, okay? Like you. It's always u. Por ejemplo, uno. It's not uno, it's uno. Alright, so that's basically how we pronounce the vowels, see, las vocales en español. Remember, they're always the same. It's always the same sound. So we have a, amar, e, elefante, y, vivir, o, oso, u, uno. Ahora vamos a practicar con algunas palabras. Let's practice now with a few words. I'm going to show you a few words that I wrote in my wonderful whiteboard, and I want you to repeat after me so that we practice the pronunciation of these words with the vowels, the pronunciation that we have just learned. Okay, so assistant, bring the board. Bring the board. Por favor, asistente. I don't have an assistant. I basically have to do it myself. All right, let's go. Let's grab it. Here it is. Okay, let's have a look at here. The first word that I have for you is, I wish you could try to pronounce it for me first. How do you think we say this? Yes, this word that means Australia. So as you can see in English, we're going to say os. Why os? Because the A followed by the U, then it becomes O. That doesn't happen in Spanish. Gracias, thank you. So remember, it doesn't matter where the A is in this word, it will always sound the same at the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. So even if you go to a Spanish speaker and you want to say, from Australia, if you want to say soy de Australia, they will have no idea what you're saying, what you're talking about. That O, it sounds like, oh, where are you from? It will be really hard to understand that you want to say Australia, okay? So pay attention here, we say Australia. Puedes repetir, can you repeat? Australia, Australia. So as you can see, the A here, here, and here is exactly the same. Australia. Australia. Muy bien. Let's see now if you want to say Australian. Yes, similar, but it's longer. So we're going to say Australiano. Australiano. Okay. Australiano. See? Here we're not making the I shorter than the A or anything like that. We don't go U at the end. Es Australiano. The next one. Estadounidense. See, to say that you're American, we're gonna say estadounidense. Estadounidense. It's a long word, I know, and the whole purpose of this is for you to see that we never omit anything, we never put things together in Spanish. We have to pronounce every single letter in a word in Spanish, okay? Estadounidense, okay? Including this last E. Usually in English, we tend to drop sometimes the last E of a word. Nunca. Never in Spanish, we never drop, omit, or just not pronounce anything. Usually speaking, in speech is a different story. We can do another lesson another time about that. Okay, the next one. Tiene. Tiene, which means he or she has. Tiene. Tiene. Tiene, okay? Always pronounce the last word. Sometimes I hear my students go like tien, because we tend to omit the last E in English. En español, no. Continuamos. La siguiente. Prácticamente. ¿Puedes repetir? Can you repeat? Prácticamente. Prácticamente. Aparentemente. Apparently. Aparentemente. Aparentemente. Universo. No es universo, ¿no? Universo. Y la última, the last one. Unfortunately, decimos desafortunadamente. 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 I know, these are long words. I chose them purposely just to give you an idea of how we just pronounce absolutely every single letter in a word in Spanish, and also how the sounds of the vowels don't change depending on where they're placed in a word. Muy bien. So that is all for today. I really hope that now you understand how to pronounce the vowels in Spanish, and that with this lesson you'll be able to sound more natural when you speak Spanish. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next class. Adios!